at you with another Wealth Wednesdays, man.
With another
We
one.
we coming up to the end of November, man. Glad to be here, man. Let them know something, man.
Yeah, man. End of November, man. It's your boy Official Go Getter. We coming at you guys another live, man, in the flesh.
Come on, yeah. Kicking it off, man. I'm just start by like how you feeling. You know what I'm saying? Today I'm feeling good. It's Wednesday. It was kind of cold this morning when I woke up. I ain't gonna lie, but yeah, vibes, man. I was up chilling. You know what I'm saying, in the markets, looking at what it was doing. You know, got up, got my family together. You know what I'm saying, put my son on the bus. You know what I'm saying, getting the day started. We here. Wealth Wednesday is bright and early. You know, can't come on, we in there. We like, man, we looking good too.
Yeah.
Come on, yes sir. On a Wednesday,
Nice on a Wednesday.
yes.
On a Wednesday, let me fix. I'm not feeling the breeze.
Yeah, it is a little bit cold in here, low key. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not feeling the breeze, man.
Yeah, though. Coming at you, man. How you feeling today? How you feeling? How was your morning?
Uh, Regular, man. I'm feeling. I'm looking forward to this right here. My morning's been pretty slow so far. So this is the thing that's gonna pick up the pace, right? Just getting into these markets. Week's been cool so far. Been kind of a slow week, but we gonna pick up the momentum for sure. Not gonna finish the week how we started the week, but yeah, man. Anything specific you want to get into before we get into these Wealth Wednesdays? This Wealth Wednesdays, man.
Um, yeah, man. First off, you know what I'm saying? Thank you, God. You know what I'm saying? We here. We
Right
living.
here.
Shout out, shout out GLD, man. He the reason why we woke up. You know what I'm saying? Getting our lives together, doing what we're doing here. Even while we are consistent enough to be here every Wednesday, right? Gotta thank God. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Very grateful. Show a lot of gratitude to my life. You know what I'm saying? The way I'm living. You know what I'm saying? How full circle, how it's forming. We got a lot of things coming to it. Looking forward for the future. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of we got shit coming. You know what I'm saying? Gotta thank God.
Got
That's all that is right there. See, you got the spy chart up. Let's break that down real quick.
Yeah, man. Right here, we're looking at the SPY chart. So if you guys is following along with us, pull up your S&P 500 chart. Right, looking at the S&P 500. We're having a pullback. You guys already know we was running up, and we had that high of 689. And since then, since we had that high, we ended up fluctuating around 689, coming down to that low of 660. Then we ended up going right back up to 685, and today we just came back. Yesterday we ended up coming back down to that support again around that 660. Today we just broke below it, so we're still fiddling around that area of 660. You know, but I'm thinking we still got some more room to the downside to go. I'm looking at 652 right here. There's some support right here at 652 on the daily, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if we end up reaching that 652. And honestly, depending on what we do there, will kind of tells me whether or not we're headed down to something even more major or not. But I think this is just your typical pullback in the market. And I think we still got some more running up to do during December, right? But those are just my thoughts, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, the market can always do what it does, and I'm not a market maker. So I'm just telling you what I see and what I think, man. Anything you want to talk about in specifics?
Yeah. What I'm seeing is we're in a range right now. We're kind of like supporting resistance. We're in a range, and just like you were saying, it's kind of we're not market makers, so we can't really determine where the market is going. But it's clear that we're having a drawback right now, and if we go on the monthly chart, it's been we've had 5 green months, right? And so in the month of November, just now, in these last couple of weeks, we've haven't been having this drawdown. How many weeks? Is that just one? Weekly?
One, two, three, four, five, six. So May of 2025, since May of 2025, we've had nothing but green months until it looks like it's possible that we may end on a red month in November, where we got 9 days left and we're red right now. But if you look at the monthly chart here on TradingView, you can see that we've since April um, to May is when we ended up having our first green month since April. We've gone up every month since then, every single month since then. So, um, nah, yeah, you was right.
Or you think? Or how about? Honestly, how I'm thinking this is gonna go, right? Just like you said, we have a whole month left of the year, right? And so there's a lot to determine, but I think we're gonna keep going, pulling down a little bit more until maybe like the first week or two into November, because or December. That's a pretty strong red candle from the beginning of this month. And so, from my understanding, it's looking like, yeah, we're at the top right now. We're at a peak and creating the valley, and yeah, this is what the economy is looking like right now on the SPY chart. Yeah. Also today we got Nvidia earnings too. Waiting for those to come out. Market's been it's been really volatile today. It's been up and down. All indices, commodities, even crypto been dancing a little bit. Bitcoin is sitting at, I think, what it hit 90,000 a day.
88.
88. Last time I looked at it, it was 89.
Oh, really?
Shit.
Yeah.
We moving down, bruh. It's a, and which is bizarre because uh last year, um October is a great month for the entire market, right? Like not only crypto but everything. Usually October and November we usually see prices not all time highs, but we get to, you know what I'm saying? We get to hitting those higher levels where we were in the summertime or whatever the case may be, but it's down these last quarter four. This entire quarter four been kind of shaky. You know what I'm saying? How you feeling about Q4?
Oh yeah, man. I think it. Oh, I forgot we had that on the whole time. I wonder if you heard that. I forgot we had it on. But yeah, like you said, like we had October being September was an up month. September we ended up having an up month, which we usually have a pullback in that month. But it didn't happen. I didn't think we get a pullback until I think it was like was it October that we ended up? Did you say we had a good month in October or a bad month? We had a bad month.
It started coming down
in October, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we usually end up seeing the pullback in September, but it ended up happening in October. And I agree with what you said about us going into the first week of December maybe. I feel like November is going to give us that red month as well, or just that them red days that the market needs, that pullback that it needs, the breathing that it needs. And then December again, going into January, we're gonna rally up again. I wouldn't be surprised if we do that. But yeah, here on the monthly, let me go back to just looking at October again. We had June, July, August, September. Yeah, you had September. We ended up starting at 632. How did we end at 667? I'm looking on the monthly. Let me go back to the hourly and stuff like that. All right, let me look. September of 2025. We got September of 2025. Yeah, so in September, we started here on the 3rd. We ended up starting at around 634. And then we ended up starting at, ended up closing at, that's only the 10th of September. So we started at 634 in September. We had a good September. And then we closed at, it wasn't until around 664, 665. And then we move up in October. And then we remember we was moving up in October. Then we had that drop in October, and it happened October 10th. And that's when we fell from 670. And then we ended up hitting that support at 650. So 652. So remember, you guys, like I just said, we're inching to that 652 support again, and we're at 660. We just came from those higher levels, right? So in October, it came from 673, came to 651 or 652, and as soon as it got there, it rejected. It didn't break through, and then we ended up running back from 652 and then having a rally all the way back up to the highest of 689, right? So with that being said, the market doesn't always repeat itself, but history does rhyme, right? So seeing what happens every time that we get to this 652 level, right? This is a prominent level, so we had to touch right there September 17th, right? In 2025, we had to touch at 652, 653. We ended up moving right back up. Then we had another touch, two touches October 10th, and then another touch October 14th, and we bounced both times. So now, I'm betting on us to bounce and yeah, I'm looking for that bounce next time we get there. And if we don't bounce, then that tells us which direction that we're headed. And but yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you, Flask. I'm feeling you when it comes down to November. We're gonna end off a little bit red and slow this November, right? I don't think it's gonna be like super super bloody, but it's definitely gonna be like a slower November going into December, and then I think we definitely end up seeing. I think we end up seeing 700 before the year ends. Some way somehow. But when it comes down to the percentages, we're at 660 right now, and if we end up hitting 652, that's only a 7% gain. That's only a 7% gain. So if we don't hit 700, I think we can get definitely at least back to that 690 for sure, because that's a 5% gain. When it comes down to what we lost in the last month, we lost about looks like a 3% gain, 4% gain, almost 5% gain. So, because at this month in November, we started at around like 675, something like that. Now we're at 660. So yeah, man. Yeah, man. Anything you want to say?
Yeah, man, we here. You see what the market's talking about.
Talk about Bitcoin or something.
Yeah, let's see. Let me pull that chart up for me real quick. Bitcoin is bleeding bad. We hitting a low. What's that low right there? But that's today too. Sheesh. Crypto market. The entire crypto market is down. The Bitcoin is the driver, and I was gonna say something, but it's kind of controversial. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say it anyway. Big turn left. You ready? So, I know there's a lot of news about all this Epstein and all the files and stuff like that, and there is emails connecting Jeffrey Epstein to Bitcoin, and he was one of the early investors into Bitcoin.
Really?
With that being said, right, it kind of gives you the common person may not know about what is going on with the Epstein files, but it's a big case, right? And ultimately, what I was saying was that's kind of crazy, low key, because if we got, I'm not trying to get too deep, we got, if something as big as Jeffrey Epstein is connected to something as big as Bitcoin, right? Then what does that look like for the price, as well as the retail investors like ourselves? Because he's in the early development, and pretty much Bitcoin is a store of value. And so with that being said, not only is it a currency, right, but Bitcoin is in every computer. The transactions between Bitcoin transactions are on every computer ever, right? So with that being said, it's a store of value. So not only currency and money, but also data, right? So yeah, there's a lot to uncover. I'm trying to keep it broad, said this ain't what this channel's about, you feel me? But yeah, data's involved, and so kind of plays a big part on how Bitcoin is moving right now as well, with all this news coming out.
Nah, bro, you started on the Jeffrey. No, bro, like, bro? I'm not gonna be the only person who catch what this dude just did, bro. You gotta sum up the Jeffrey Epstein in one sentence that connects to Bitcoin somehow, because you started with it, then you didn't touch on it.
I got you.
You left us hanging for real.
So look, Jeffrey Epstein was one of the many investors into the early development of Bitcoin. So the like let's say the coders of Bitcoin had really close ties with Jeffrey Epstein, which would allow him to not only hold Bitcoin, right, but also, like I said, it's a store of value. So not only was it about money, but it stores data as well. And so maybe maybe that has a little bit something to do with the fact that Bitcoin takes so long when it comes to completing transactions, right? Because of all the data that it is collected. Um, with that being said, it's like you got to kind of think about. Also, I was looking at everyone knows who. If you don't know, Satoshi Nakamoto is the said creator of Bitcoin, right? And so some people think it's a collective of people. Some people think it's one person. Some people think it's a three-letter agency. Regardless of whatever the case may be, um, one of the there were a few transactions that from a early Bitcoin account that hasn't had any movement in the last 15 years. And just yesterday, there was money coming out of these wallets being moved to different wallets. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm saying is why this is major is because there this is an early wallet to Bitcoin, right? I'm not gonna say it's Satoshi Nakamoto's wallet. I don't know that exactly. But what I am saying is this is an early wallet that hasn't had any movement in 14 years until now. And we see Bitcoin sitting at 89090, right? 89,000 coming from we have been bleeding in across the entire economy, right? We got the tariffs, we got the government shutdown. So there's a lot of things that play into how we're looking right now, but yeah, you know, food for thought.
Yeah, um, definitely a food for thought. Definitely, because like you said, that the Epstein cases, they're working on getting those things revealed. So this is all happening as
Real time.
all this Bitcoin thing is happening. The Bitcoin thing moving, while the moving is happening as that's going on. You got uh, a lot going on.
Yeah.
You got a lot going on. The government just opened. They got this Epstein case. They got Donald Trump talking about he's in the. They got him. They got him saying he's in the Epstein case.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of distractions that we got going on in our world, man. But throughout all the mist, these asset prices are on sale. So they're trying to distract you from what's really going on while they buy up all these asset prices. So we got like he said, we got Bitcoin at 89,000. They look like they got some more to go when it comes down to support. Looking like you got an 83,000 support, and even lower than that if you want to go. You got 74, 73,000, which it possibly can get to. Even yes. Even if we want to get technical and get into demand zones.
Let me touch up on that real quick.
Go ahead.
As soon as if price were to go, if you zoom out a little bit, like as far as you can. Yep. No, that's cool right there. You see this line right here? Let me see something real quick. No, it's horizontal. Let me see real quick. I'll make one of them lines that like it's diagonal. I could create the line. I forget how to extend the line. Down here, even further back than this, low key. Let me go to the 12 months. What I was going to say was if price were ever to get as low as 70,000, then that would be the official end of the bull market. Currently, this is what we're supposed to be in. We're in a bull cycle. Let me go back to the daily where we was on. If price goes below and breaks that 70,000 level, I was trying to show you something. I was looking at this the other day. I'm right clicking. Left clicking, I mean. Go back to that daily. Price comes lower than this 70, 75. Now I can draw that line. Let me see. It goes back a little bit further than this, but right here. Let me see. Goes back a little bit further. But if we get to the point where we come down to this level right here, end of the bull market, bro. And this is how you would know. Like, I mean, it's already looking like it's looking rough right now. But based off of this right here, like when price comes, it usually is the end of the bull market. I was looking at this yesterday. When price comes below, there's a what would you call that? It's not an EMA. It's not a moving average, but it's like a resistance level. Honestly, pretty much, or a support level. I mean, it's a support level sitting under every bull market, and so you'll see that if you go to the Bitcoin chart, you'll go and it's touched it multiple times, and that would usually be the end of the bull market or just a sign of consolidation, right? So we see it goes back a little further, like I said, back from like 2013. I'm gonna get too deep, but you see we got this touch right here, as well as this touch bounced off of that. We got this touch again, bounce, this touch. If we come down lower to where 75K is, man, about like right there. Burn. Yeah, end of the bull market.
And what price is that for the viewers?
75 or 70. Let me see. So it need to be a little bit lower. But it's at 75,784 is where I got it marked at. Yeah.
And that's where you said that's where bull market is going.
Officially over. Yeah. Yes. Like we have trends that look like that now. There's no telling what December and the first quarter one of January looks like, but currently we're on the path to the end of the bull market.
Yes, sir. And how does that work for the people viewing? How does like the bull market work and the cycles work for crypto and stuff like that?
Yeah, so it's said to say that based on the chart, actually, every 4 years there is a bull market, right? And so since last year, we've been in the bull market, and so yeah, every 4 years, and so last year was the beginning of the bull market, and you seen prices last October. XRP was 50 cents, right? We shot up all the way to $3 coming up into like that March or that April time. Yeah, so not even only XRP, Bitcoin as well. We hit 120,000 this year, right? And so that was close to December time. What was that? That was like April, around the same time. So yeah, along with all the other cryptos, it was a great year overall, and so we're kind of just getting to that point where, it's getting rocky. We're getting rocky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so like during the times where it's not considered in a bull market, right? What usually happens with crypto? What usually happens with Bitcoin? How does it usually move?
It's instead of it we having like really simple terms, instead of us having really big moves to the upside, it's a lot of sideways movement or decline, right? And so as well as the other cryptos and other projects, as well as the other projects, there isn't really, even with all of the like with all the programs coming out and all of the software that these cryptos are developing, right? Even all this adoption and all of that, like, price doesn't move the way that you would think it moves. And so honestly, that is sometimes people say XRP isn't even what a lot of people think it is, and it's overvalued because of what the bull market does to XRP and how it moves specifically. Yeah. And so pretty much it's like, it's not that it's a bad time. Everything is on sale as well. So full circle, right there. But sometimes when bull markets swing around, If you don't have, sometimes you might get liquidated, right? And you won't have no crypto. People see so much drawdown from it. It's like it begins to become one of those scams. You know what I'm saying? People don't get to see what they're looking for, and so it's called, or it gets called scams. Yeah. Have they released the earnings yet?
Nah, it's not until after market.
Oh, aftermarket. You right.
Man, we can move on to whatever
Yeah.
other topics we got.
I got you. We're gonna shift it away a little bit. We already covered the economic state of the world right now. Shout out Jaden Smith, right? We're gonna talk about a little bit something different, right? And just how we're gonna talk about discipline specifically, and how important it is, right? And so, just before I ask you this question, right? On a large scale, on a large scale, how has discipline? I don't want to say changed your life, right? That's really broad. How has discipline created the person you are today, opposed to the person you were 5 years ago? On a 5 year scale, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How different is your disciplinary skills towards yourself and the things that you do from 5 years ago, from today, from 5 years ago to today?
Yeah. Honestly, I want you to answer, bro. You go ahead and answer so you can set the tone.
I got you. Personally, my discipline, I consider and say that it's obviously developed right. I'm getting older, but let's just do a little bit of a dive real quick. Back when 5 years ago, I'm 23. So when I'm 18, 19, 17, 18, I mean, it's like I wasn't worried about the things that mattered, right? Like I was worried about what shoes I had on. You know what I'm saying? What girl I had in my phone. What, you know what I'm saying? How much money the other dude got that I seen last week, right? I was worried about what other people could give me as well and not creating the space for myself. And yeah, it led to me staying stagnant. Like I could tell you from my age of 18 all the way up until about 22, 21, about 20 or 21 is when I like really snapped out of whatever trance I was in. Like I was so stuck on just other people's lives, honestly. Like I was just so into other people and how they did things, and I had to be a follower, really. And it got to the point where my daily habits were someone else's. You know what I'm saying? They weren't even mine. And so I got to the point I'm losing jobs left and right, right? Like I'm not caring. You know what I'm saying? I'm not taking care of myself the right way. And so when it came to the age of about 20, like I said, 20 to 21, I had like a wake up call that was not that I had a wake up call that was pretty major for me. Like I had gotten to the point where it was so obvious that I needed to get right. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like a I'm trying to put it together for real.
How you did?
It wasn't like a blinking light in my face. It was like a shooting star. And when I seen the star right now, I had realized that like I'm not doing the right things. And I'm not treating people the right way. So 21 came. I was an adult now. Like actually, I had considered myself an adult. 18, 19 was, you know what I'm saying, I'm faking the funk, you know, like every 18, 19-year-old, I thinking they're grown and, you know, whatever the case may be. 21, I felt that I was grown. I was really, now these types of decisions, these decisions that I was making either had to be the right ones or I was going to be in a hole, right? So that was long. From the span of 18 to 23, I could say that I've grown a lot because I had taken on a lot of responsibility that I was trying to prove to myself that I was able to endure, right? And so with that, it kind of grew me to be the man I am today. Pretty much having all of the responsibility that I had at a younger age, not a young age, but a younger age, not really still trying to figure it out. I was able to unlock the growing that I had inside of me, right? Because when I was 18, 19, 20, I was not growing. It was either stagnant or, you know what I'm saying, real pullback, right? And so how far I've come, a lot of people that I went to school with probably wouldn't even recognize me, honestly. Like, this is the way that I've been moving and things like that. Like, when I was in high school, you know what I'm saying, the people that I knew, they'd be like, you know, Flask? You know what I'm saying? Like, they'd be like, it's good to see you, you know what I'm saying? You look good, you know, I see you doing your, you know what I'm saying? I see you full circle wealth. Like, a lot of people would have never thought that I would be here. Guarantee, I didn't even know that I was going to be here either. If I'm being frankly honest with you, like, it came to a point where like I said, the responsibilities that I took on began to pile up, and it began to strengthen my bones. Yeah, and so, yeah, I've grown discipline wise a lot. Yeah, it gave you a lot to go on too. So, you know,
For sure, needed.
a couple different things.
For sure, appreciate you setting the tone. Yeah, because I relate, man. You know, if you were 6 years ago, 5 years ago, you were 18. 5 years ago, I'm 22. 22 minus, I was 17. So 17 plus 3, 20 plus. So I was 17, man, and I was what you call a tweener, right? I got this term from my dad, man. Yeah, I was what you call a tweener, bro. I was in between. I was trying to be I was trying to live for the world, live with the culture, be the cool guy, and then I'm also trying to be the guy who's going to the gym and reading books and trying to study the stock market. Like, I'm trying to be two at one time, you know, and that's where I was at. Like Flash was saying, you know, I had habits that weren't my habits. I had things that I was doing that wasn't really my idea. It was just, hey, I'm going with what the culture's doing, and I'm doing it in my own way, right? But I'm still doing what everybody else is doing in my own way, right? So that just puts me in my bad. My mind went everywhere. So what that does is, so yeah, man. Long story short, I ain't gonna lie. Can you stop moving a little bit, brother? It's throwing me off a little bit. That's what it is. My bad. Too much movement going on. But yeah, you know, when it comes down to my mind, man, I was a tweener, you know, so I was trying to do the right thing and trying to do the thing that I wasn't supposed to do at the same time. And it got to a point where I had to choose, right? I had to choose, right? I had to grow in either the wrong areas or grow in the right areas, because either way I was going to grow, but it was going to be in the direction that I probably didn't want to go. So I had to use that same fire and put it towards other things. So yeah, my discipline has definitely grew a lot, not from the standpoint of like, oh, no discipline at all to somebody who's disciplined, but it was like channeling my discipline, right? You know, because you could be disciplined even if you're doing the wrong thing. Somebody who's selling drugs, right, versus somebody who's on the stock market, you can have two disciplined people, right, but you're putting your discipline towards the wrong energy, right? So that same person who may be selling drugs or doing things that he's not supposed to do, right, that same disciplined energy can, if you got the courage to do that, then you got the courage to go build the business that's legit that you're trying to do, right? And yeah, so, you know, 5 years ago to now, definitely would be proud, because, you know, I set out and I accomplished all the things that I wanted to accomplish, right? You know, we still got more room to go, but for sure on the right track. And when it comes down to the discipline, for sure, you know, the habits are completely different. You know, our lifestyles are completely different. Even though that we're more structured, it's giving me more freedom, right? Because discipline is really freedom, you know. That structure is what gives you freedom. Us thinking that we can do whatever we want to do, however we want to do it, that's when, you know, that freedom ends up putting us in a pit, right? But that real freedom we're looking for comes with structure and discipline. So, yeah, man. I don't want to blah
Yeah.
blah blah.
I got you one more time though. I ain't gonna lie. I got another question for you. What if you can go back to, you could pick any age you like, but to an age where you were, you know what I'm saying, comparable to what, not nothing to something, right? Just like you said, but in it, what would you go back and tell your younger self about your current self right now and how you're shaping you right now? What would you tell your younger self about you right now? Rather growth or, you know what I'm saying, systems. You could go discipline route, respect for yourself and others. How, yeah,
You
what would
know,
you?
and I even tell this to people. Like, it's like there's even with what we're talking about. There's so much advice that somebody could give you. There's so many different things that anybody could say. Like, I could say plenty of things to my 16-year-old self or 17-year-old self, but like the one true thing is as cliche as it sounds, is just build a relationship with God, right? Build a relationship with the man above. I don't know how else to put it, because it's like, if you do that, no matter who you are, you'll be all right. But you have to actually do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's easier said than done. Like, people, like that's not just a saying that I'm saying. Like, I mean, like, actually truly build a relationship with God, right? Like, give your life to Him, right? Do things in your life with Him, and like, you can't go wrong. I could tell my younger self, oh, you'll be all right. Oh, do such and such, such and such. But like, nah, man, just build a relationship with God, and that He'll handle the rest. You know what I'm saying? You'll find your purpose. You'll find everything through that. So yeah, man. How about yourself? What would you tell your younger self?
I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna say that, but in a different way, right? I was gonna say to my younger self, find that trust in yourself, right? I didn't really believe that I was as great as other people thought I was, right? And so I would go back and tell me that you are great and trust yourself, and not only that, but trust God as well, because those go hand in hand, right? You believe in, not believe, you know that God is with you, then just like he said, inevitable, you're gonna win. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing else that is as great as God. And so with that being said, you trusting yourself is trusting God. And so that is exactly what I would tell myself. What my 12-year-old self, right? Yeah. Like I said, I was damn near lost until 20, and so yeah.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
Like, even like, because like you said, being lost until like 20. Like, I was really lost, not really knowing how to use my mind until like I hit 16. I went through this workshop and I realized, the mind, how powerful it was. And then that's when it started. So like 16, 17, that's where I like developed like this mindset that you guys are seeing now. Like, that's the foundation. I'm watching spiritual videos, I'm reading books, I'm developing new habits. But then 18, 19 is where I think I'm more stronger than the world, because I know what the world is like, but I got these habits. I'm thinking I could change the world, or I'm thinking I'm a superhero damn near, because I got all these people around me and they don't know, but I know. But I'm thinking that if I surround myself around the people who aren't on the same type of timing, it's not gonna affect me, or I can affect them, right? But when it comes down to energy is really strong. If you're not strong in your energy and somebody else is, you're gonna be affected, right? Yeah. So I was still developing my energy, and the people I was around, they didn't have no development in their energy. They knew, hey, like, if they was on the negative spectrum, that's who they were, and they had no problem with that. But me, I was still trying to live on the positive side. It was still a fight. So all I did was get negatively affected. So I'm saying that to say, I built my mind and then went into the world with my mind, right, thinking that I could change the world and change other people. And all that did was, then I get to 20 years old, and that's when I realized, like you said, bro, like, damn, I really am lost. Even when I thought I was found, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could think you're found and still be a smart person and still be lost, right? So definitely, you know, those teenage years, 16, 17, 18, 19, like you were saying earlier, like those times where you really think you're grown. Like I really thought I was doing something at 17, 18, 19, and thinking that like I was already 21, 22, thinking that I'm already a mature person, you know? Not to say that I wasn't, but like when you hit that age of 22, 23, just 21, like when you hit those 20s, you really look back and be like, wow, like I was really a child at 18, 19. So yeah, man.
Speaking of just 20s overall, right? And let's talk about how your 20s aren't for comfort, right? Just like what you described, the 20s is for kind of like preparation, you know what I'm saying? And how you're gonna structure the rest of your 20s, not your life, but you know what I'm saying? This is the stepping stone. This is the foundation. Your 20s is just for you to prepare for the rest of your life. And so you can't really get complacent and comfortable. And for example, just like we said, we seen with them younger before we was even 20, right? And being lost, trying to figure out where we were and who we are, right? Coming into the 20s, we're only this is my third year, but this, you know what I'm saying? We's here. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it goes to show that, like on the longevity side of things, Full Circle was created at the beginning of this year. By the time we're 30, Full Circle Wealth will no longer just be a, you know what I'm saying? We're in the studio with it. We're gonna be a household name. We're gonna be somebody that you know that you've heard of, that you've been helped by, right? By what we're this, and also full circle moment. Sorry, I was gonna go real deep on the future, but it starts now. The preparation we've been doing this for months, right? And it's only month 11, right? But year 1 is down, right? So the next 5 years, nothing but growth. Next year, shit, you know what I'm saying? Next year, nothing but growth, and it just goes to show, full circle moment, how the 20s ain't for comfort, right? It's for you to prepare and get your life together. Because personally, I know a lot of older people in the older generations that are, you know, just trying to get to where they wanted to be when they were 20, right? While they're 40, or rather,
Who just wish they utilized their 20s better.
Exactly.
That's something that we hear all the time. So,
And touch up on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. Literally what you said, man. You know, our 20s are, if you reverse engineer what everybody has told us when they say, you know, use your 20s to enjoy yourself, right? Or enjoy your time in your 20s. You're young, like if you still hear that, I want you to be offended, for real. I want you to be offended. 100%. Like, I want you to be offended because, bro, if you really feel that in your heart, you really put that in trajectory. Like, even for the older folks who suggest that, you know, don't suggest that. Like, you're setting us up for failure. Talking about have fun in your 20s and wait. Oh, you got time. Like, you let me say something about that. Go ahead, bro.
Because it's not only the fact that they said that and why you should be offended, but it's the fact that they try to project their life onto you as well. Mm-hmm. Anybody telling you that you're 20, anybody older than you telling you that you're 20 years old and live your life didn't get to live their 20s. Mm-hmm. They're telling you they wish that they was in your position. They wish that they was in our position. Mm-hmm. So anybody telling you, go live your life. You don't gotta stress free. Don't worry. They wish they were in your position. That's why they are projecting their lives onto your 20 year. You know what I'm saying? Tell them, fuck no.
Well, yeah, I'm not lying. Yeah, put that on YouTube and be demonetized. I don't care, but get like fuck off. Like what, bro? I'm not listening to a thing you have to say. It's so disrespectful, bro. Like we are really trying to utilize our 20s for building, right? Spiritually, mentally, financially, physically. Like, if we can do that, by the time we hit 30, we're in the best position. Like, even if you're 30, right? It only takes 5 to 10 years to really change this life, man. You can be in your 40s and be a millionaire, 50s living a different type of life, right? So when it comes down to 20s, man, reverse engineer it, right? Don't just use your 20s to have fun, right, man? No, like we're also in your 20s. We're all trying to figure it out anyway. Exactly. More often than not, somebody's struggling. You know, we're trying to figure it out. We're the youngest in the world trying to figure it out. We don't need to look like we got it figured out, trying to keep up with the Joneses, right? So once we get that out of our minds, saying, okay, I'm in my 20s, I have to look like I got it figured out. Let's get that out the door. Right. I'm in my 20s, I shouldn't have it figured out, and I should focus on figuring it out. Exactly. And not looking like I got it figured out. Because if I not focus on looking like I got it figured out now, right? And trying to make it seem like I got it figured out now, right? When we're in our 30s, where it really matters. No, that's where it really matters, because you're in your 30s now. You're a very grown woman. You're a very grown man, right? And if you're just now trying to figure out, nah, that's not how I want to say it. That's not how I want to say it. But if you're 30 and you're at that point where you're now entering the stage where it's like, okay, I want to put my life on a better trajectory. I want to stop having bad habits. I want to stop, partying and indulging in things that are just negative for me, right? Because everything that you do right now in your 20s sets up for your life. Because now if you do this in your 20s, right, and you create all these bad habits from 20 to 26, 27, now you're going to be 32 still fighting the bad habits that you created when you're 26, right. 27, right? So I'm saying all this to say, right, the key to life that we've realized at a young age, right, that, some older folks didn't get the chance to realize, right, which is okay, is the fact that if we focus now, we get to reap those benefits later, when it truly matters, when we're grown, right? Because at an older age, at a mature age, that's when success really matters, right? That's when maybe a status kind of matters, right? Yeah. That's when how you look in this world kind of matters, right? Right now, we're all on the same playing field, and we should just prioritize building, to create that freedom. Like I was talking about, discipline is what creates that freedom. That discipline now at 20, right? Instead of me being able to go to the club and act like I got, this certain lifestyle and spend some money and act like I got this certain lifestyle, take trips, I got that certain lifestyle and prioritize that now. Why not just actually build right now? And then when I'm 30 or 20, late 20s, I could take all the trips I want.
We can own the club.
We could own the club. Like, that's how it's supposed to be, right, man? So, whatever you would like to say on that, man, touch up on it, man.
Yeah. Full circle moment, delayed gratification, right? You have to understand how important that is, because just like you were saying, you have the time to build now, and realizing that the next 5 to 10 years that you can own the club. I just feel like that's a no-brainer, right?
That's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. Like, take a trip every 4 months, or take a trip once every year, and it hurts, or just wait to take trips every other week when I got the Amex credit card that's buying the flights, and I got literally 200,000 in assets, like more than that.
Come on,
so delayed gratification, man.
Yeah, and to touch up on that, I'm gonna shift the topic a little bit. Delayed gratification. Let's put a pin in that. Let's talk about your proximity and why proximity is so important. And what I mean by that is the people that you have around you, the things that are around you, your habits, mainly your environment is what I was talking about. Yeah. And how things like delayed gratifications can't work if my cousin, right, say I had $50 to my name, my cousin, and I knew how to invest, I was gonna go far. I'm not gonna lie. A whole analogy that you had to really. So what I'm saying is your environment is so important, and it's detrimental to the way who you are, because by the time you're 30, if you're hanging around bums, I hate to be the guy to tell you, but you're a bum. You know what I'm saying? You hang around winners, you hang around go-getters. You know what I'm saying? That's what you become naturally. You become a go-getter, right? You become that powerful tycoon, right? And then not only yourself, but the collective that you're with. Because if you could, what I call a real dude is the ability that one person has to bring other people up. That is the realest person that you could be. If you're a messenger and that was your purpose, right? And you bring other people and you deliver that message, real dude. So that message may be, you know what I'm saying, not only guidance, right? But it could also be uh, um, perception, right? Guidance. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Guidance. You're around the right people. There's nothing stopping you to becoming the great person that you know that you have inside of you. That God has planned for you as well. Like if you know that you have the foundation right, and all your homies, all your coworkers, also all your associates, your family members, right? The people that you cherish the most, if you can put them into position, there's no way that you and your village could fail, right? Like even just let me specifically this relationship right here, man. We met off of a whim. It was out of the blue how I met this dude right here, and it was really God's plan the entire time. This was 2 years ago I met, bro. We are building literally a foundation today, currently. Last year we started this. Or the beginning of this year we started this. We are here now, right? And it was God's plan. You know what I'm saying? Even through our relationship, at the beginning of our relationship, there was a little bit rocky because, you know what I'm saying, he was with it. And I had to get my mind right to the point where I had to get on his level to be even able to be able to grow, right? He was already in that. Like he said, he was trying to figure this out. He was reading books. He was doing this, that, and the third, getting his body right, getting his mental right. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't there. Like I said, when I was 20, I was lost. I just found it. I found this guy. You know what I'm saying? 2 years later, this is where we are. In a matter of 2 years. You see what I'm saying? So not only is our relationship strong as the F word, right? But our bond is so unbreakable that we have no choice but to grow with each other, alongside each other, right? You know what I'm saying? And that's just how that goes, right? And then so the things that I learned from him, the things that I learned from him, I could give and spread, as well as the things that he's learned from me, he can give and spread, and that's just how that goes, man. We're you know what I'm saying? That our environment here is full circle. Everything we do is full circle. So with that being said, the proximity is just as is the okay. So delayed gratification is step 2, but your proximity is step 1. You can't get nowhere if you're in the mud, right? It's so hard to get out of the mud. And so if you got a bro to pull you up, grab his hand, man. You got a family member, whoever, God even. You know what I'm saying? God does pull soldiers out of the mud too. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people don't have other people to rely on, so you got God with you. That holy trinity right here, you know what I'm saying? We can't lose, man. Proximity is the stepping stone for growth, right? They go hand in hand, growth and proximity. You want to touch upon that? I said a lot.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. Literally, like, I'm not gonna touch on it a lot, but I'll just literally what he said. You know, if you're somebody who's trying to grow and build, but you're around somebody who doesn't want to do that, right? If you're somebody who's trying to invest your money, but the person you're right next to wants to go buy kicks every single week with their paycheck, right? That's just gonna pull you into that instant gratification when you're trying to delay your gratification, right? So like he said, man, that delayed gratification is important, but what's even more important is putting yourself in an environment that makes it easier for you to succeed, right? I used to fail and make that mistake, man. I used to have this great mindset, this great thought process, but I would put myself in an environment that would just make it inevitable to fail. I would just make it harder on myself. Ain't nobody thinking how I think around me, and I'm thinking that I could make all these other people think like me. But unfortunately, all that does is make you think like everybody else. So what you just have to do is when you realize, you're overpowered by energy, man, you leave. You leave, right? Because there's no other way to do it, right? But hey, man, we got any other topics? Was that the last one?
Yeah, that was the last one.
That's the last one, man.
You down for another 5? How are you feeling?
If you got something, we could dibble and dabble for another 5. Yeah. Other than that, we could see where this goes. But this was a good Wealth Wednesday. It's talking about the delayed gratification, talking about the proximity, talking about where we put in our money, right? Talking about It all, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap us up then. How about that? Yeah. Full circle wealth, man, coming at you with another Wealth Wednesdays. It was great today. You know what I'm saying? Touched up about, just like you said, investing. You know, we talked a lot about God too. So I want to say that before we get out of here. we I feel that it is important for God to be in every one of our Wealth Wednesday conversations because of what the state of the world looks like, right? There's so much other distractions that will deter you away from what real love is. And so always keep that in your mind. You good? Yeah.
You know, when you had mentioned, I was looking for my Bible to see
Yeah.
if I could take out a verse real quick. If we could, but it's in my backpack on the other side.
It's all good. Yeah. That's it, man. Be ready for those. Yeah, because, matter of fact, we're coming at you with 2-3 Bible verses next week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're doing that.
And we're gonna break it down and put it into how it relates to our life and stuff like that. Because, man, that's, you know, I'm glad you said that, man. Because, you know, when you read the Bible, right, and you read the principles and actually figure out how it relates to your life, right? Like the same way we got these topics and we're talking about delayed gratification, or, you know, discipline when it comes down to what would you tell yourself, discipline in 5 years. You know, like the Bible is full of delayed gratification topics, principles, right? Money principles, whatever the case is. And, you know, the key to it is figuring out where you see yourself in those principles, right? You know, not just reading it and taking it for the face value, but, hey, where do I see Flask in this? Where do I see Official Go-Getter in this? If we're talking about, you know, the power of the tongue, you know what I'm saying? And where do I see myself in the power of the tongue, knowing that, you know, how I speak matters, and, you know, what comes out my mouth matters. And, you know, if God says that the tongue is the most powerful part of the body and the most negative part of the body, whatever the case is, you know, how should I, you know, worry about those things and go about those things? So applying it to your life, you know. With that being said, man, follow us on the Instagram, you know, comment on the YouTube, follow on the Twitch, right? I'm posting this on the YouTube. Every Twitch live that we do goes on our playback on YouTube at Full Circle Wealth, man. On Instagram, we post the clips daily, right? We'll be having a clip coming out later today. With that being said, man, it's your boy Fisher Go Getter, man, with your boy Flask. And we'll see you next week, man. Like, comment, subscribe, and follow us at the Instagram at Full Circle Wealth. Anything you want to say?
We closing with this. Your body is your temple. Protect your temple, man.
Yes, sir.
Full circle out.
Full circle out. You got an hour before you guys.
Come on.
Man, they trying to have us pay for stream.